Hello everyone, you have come to Tata Comic Preview channel. Let read together. Have fun. This is an art collage novel video. I made this series so you guys can experience the story faster. The video will focus on the character's psychology, the images are for illustration purposes only. Zhou stroked his beard and looked at the calm Zhu Tianyuan. Zhu Honggong. Zhu Honggong shuddered. The way the old man had called out to him seemed very familiar. His eyes suddenly widened. That mannerism, his actions, his words, his tone, his speech, and his clothes. He was thoroughly shocked to his core. However, when he looked at the younger and alien face, relief flooded through his body. The old man was not who he thought he was. In the end, he said, "Senior Liu, you should stay out of this. I'll give my master an explanation." "My son's right." Zhu Tianyuan nodded. "This is the divine capital. It has already become the Nether Sect's territory. We'll both lose if we fight in earnest. At most, I won't be able to see my son, but you'll lose your life. Knowing old villain G, if he makes a move, you won't even have a chance to fight back." Zhou remained silent. He was about to nullify the effect of the appearance alteration card when Jiangpu suddenly flew out of the pile of rubble. He tossed the debris aside and charged at Zhou like a cannonball. "Jiangpu, no." Zhu Tianyuan's face paled from shock. Everything happened in a blink of an eye. Jiangpu appeared before Zhou in just a short moment. Zhou raised his hand. Whiz. A blue light shone from between his fingers again. His palm was aimed at Jiangpu. In the end, Jiangpu was kept at bay by this unique power. He froze in midair and could not advance. "He's powerful." Jiangpu regarded the old man before him in shock. Although he had mentally prepared himself for this, he did not expect to be stopped so easily. This meant that the difference in their strength was very wide. Zhou did not even deign to look at Jiangpu. He did not think it was worth it to use his extraordinary power on these people. So, he clenched his hands into fists, and primal chi began to gather around his fists. Bang! Jiangpu fell to the ground face first. Zhu Tianyuan exclaimed in shock, "What precise control!" The old man's cultivation base had to be very profound to be able to do this. With amazing control, the old man gathered primal chi and spread them 1 foot before himself, controlling his opponent's movements. That was why Jiangpu had fallen. Really? Zhou felt this move was simple. "Your move reminds me of old villain G. Back then, this was his favorite move to use when he bullied others." Zhu Tianyuan. Zhu Honggong gulped as he looked at the old man before him. He instinctively retreated. "This old man seems dangerous. I must look for a chance to escape." At this moment, Zhou unleashed a grand technique. There was a blur of movements before he faded out of sight. Zhu Tianyuan frowned slightly. He thought the old man was going to attack his son. He immediately moved to intercept the attack with a palm strike. Zhou struck with his palm. The two old men's palms collided. Boom. Zhou did not budge. He stood before Zhu Honggong. Zhu Tianyuan retracted his palm and stumbled 5 steps back before he managed to stabilize himself. His arm was numb. He was shocked. As expected, this man was not a friend. Zhou coldly said, "On your knees." Zhu Honggong looked at the old man before himself. He felt as though he was hallucinating. He saw the old man's facial features distort and rearrange themselves. Meanwhile, Zhu Tianyuan said, "My son, you should only kneel at the heavens, the earth, and your parents. There is gold under a man's knees, you cannot kneel on a whim. Forget it. I still have to rely on old villain G. Consider this my bad luck." Thud. As soon as Zhu Tianyuan finished speaking, Zhu Honggong fell to his knees. His movements were neat and thorough. He placed both hands on the ground and touched his forehead on the back of his hands. He did not move. This? Zhu Tianyuan was stunned. He was thoroughly annoyed. "I knew it." Old villain G couldn't properly teach you. I can't believe this. How can you be so spineless? This is your territory, for crying out loud. I must confront old about. When did you? Old villain G. Lu Zhou turned to face Zhu Tianyuan when Zhu Tianyuan was still ranting. Without a second thought, Zhu Tianyuan pushed away from the ground and shot away from the courtyard at lightning speed. Jiang Pu and the ancient saint cult disciples were stunned. Lu Zhou shook his head and looked at Zhu Honggong. That's your useless father. Master. I had a tough time. Zhu Honggong felt like crying as soon as Lu Zhou nullified the effect of the appearance alteration card. Zhu Tianyuan. If you leave, you won't be able to see Zhu Honggong ever again, Lu Zhou calmly said. A sigh rang from outside the courtyard. Then, Zhu Tianyuan returned as though nothing had happened. He opened the doors and walked in. The ancient saint cult disciples were further baffled. What was happening? Zhu Tianyuan looked at Lu Zhou with a stern expression as he said, Old villain G. You're as shameless as you have been in the past. The ancient saint cult disciples staggered backward. He's old villain G. Jiang Pu widened his eyes in shock and horror as he looked at Lu Zhou. He finally realized Lu Zhou's appearance had changed. He began to cough violently. After that, he quickly bit back the pain and fell to one knee. Greetings, Senior G. The others followed suit, their hearts thumping wildly in their chests. Greetings, Senior G. Was it fun? Did you find it amusing? Zhu Tianyuan spread his hands out. Lu Zhou said, how can I meet you if I didn't do this? Besides, what if it was someone who wanted to harm my disciples? Do you expect me to sit back and do nothing? Zhu Tianyuan gave it some thought and nodded. You have a point. Zhu Honggong pulled a face and said, Master. Lu Zhou said sternly, shut up. You badmouthed me behind my back and offended me. You've got guts. Zhu Tianyuan immediately explained, don't be so petty. He only forgot his place because of you. It's the teacher's fault for not producing a good student. You're complaining about me? Lu Zhou stared at Zhu Tianyuan. I wouldn't dare. If it weren't for this rascal, I wouldn't have forgiven you for that rude statement. Zhu Tianyuan's old face stiffened. He smiled awkwardly. There's no need for that. I did praise you as well. Lu Zhou was speechless. As the saying went, if the upper beam is not straight, the lower beam will be crooked. Like father like son, they had no respect for the old and were shameless to boot. Zhu Tianyuan, your face is as thick as the city walls, just like before. Forget it. I wanted to bring Zhu Honggong back to the ancient saint cult and apologize to you afterward. You know, act first and report later. Alas, man proposes, the heavens dispose, Zhu Tianyuan said with a sigh. The ancient saint cult has always kept a low profile. Why did you suddenly show your faces? Lu Zhou asked. This was the only time where he talked like a parent. Zhu Honggong remained prostrated on the ground. He dared not move. Zhu Tianyuan did not answer his question directly. He waved his hand and said, bring up the goods. Understood. A disciple entered the room and returned with a package. Zhu Tianyuan opened the package. It contained a brown-covered book. What is this? Lu Zhou asked. You'll know when you open it. Lu Zhou received the book and flipped it open. The first few dozen pages were torn away. When he finally reached an undamaged page, it read, the people here are weak. They don't seem to know how to reach the 9-leaf stage. I can feel the familiar heaven and earth shackle here, but I don't know where I should start investigating this. I want to help the people here grow stronger so that they'll have the power to fight against a 9-leaf or even a 10-leaf cultivator, as soon as possible. I met many cultivators, but their thoughts are conservative. Upon reading this, Lu Zhou's expression remained calm. However, inwardly, he was shocked. Curiosity made Lu Zhou continue flipping through the pages. Many won't believe me. Without passion and determination, there can never be true progress. I tried to tell some of them the truth behind cultivation. Zhou felt the paper and the cover. They were clearly old. The book was not engraved with any protective mechanisms. Even its cover was simple and crude. Its corners were falling off due to the corrosion of time. Much of the text was blurred, and many pages in the middle seemed to have been torn away, for some unknown reason. He wanted to continue reading, but he heard Zhu Tianyuan say, "This is one of the reasons why I'm in the divine capital. As of now, you're the only one who has reached the 9-leaf stage. I intended to have someone present this diary to you, but I didn't expect to run into you here. If you're interested in this item, I can trade it for my son. What do you say?" Zhou stopped flipping through it. He did not answer Zhu Tianyuan's question right away. He closed the book and asked, "Why didn't you show me this before?" Zhu Tianyuan shook his head and said with a sigh, "I never knew there was such a diary before this. It was found by a curious disciple who flipped through it while he was cleaning the archives. This book is badly damaged. I think someone vandalized it. If you didn't reveal yourself as a 9-leaf cultivator, I think it would have been thrown away like trash." Zhou flipped to the final section of the book. He saw a line that read, "Many think that the 8-leaf stage is the limit of human cultivation, but I know otherwise. I noticed something different about the heaven and earth shackle. I discovered that the golden lotus might be what's limiting human cultivation. How should I overcome this?" Many of the pages after that were torn. The next intact page Zhou found read, "Finally, someone believes me. He's an old man with the surname Yuan. I pitied him and helped him complete his cultivation method. It's yet uncertain if this is a problem caused by the golden lotus. But, who would be willing to listen to me and try?" After reading this, Zhou wondered inwardly, an old man with the surname Yuan? Yuan Tian Luo. Zhou looked at Zhu Tianyuan and asked, "Do you know the owner of this diary?" He was rather shocked. It seemed like he had stumbled on a clue regarding the Luo woman. He had been searching for a while now, he did not expect to find a clue here. Zhu Tianyuan shook his head and said, "She left a signature on the final page. The owner of this diary is a female, a legendary one, at that." Legendary? From what Zhou understood about the Luo woman, and based on his 1,000-year experience, the Luo woman was, at most, mysterious, not legendary. "Brother Ji." "Don't call me that," Zhou interjected. "Why do you have to hold on to past grudges? I've already presented you with my greatest treasure. You're the bigger man here. Please don't hold it against me," Zhu Tianyuan said. Zhou glanced at Zhu Honggong, who was still prostrated on the ground. Is this some hereditary trait? When the two of them met many years ago, Zhu Tianyuan's character had been like that. Now that they met again, it seemed like he did not change much. "Have you read this diary?" After asking the question, Zhou felt he was asking the obvious. "I read it when we discovered it." Zhou flipped to the last page. Indeed, there was a signature there, Luo, the middle word was blurred, "een." Luo something een? As he expected, this was the Luo woman from 300 years ago whom he had been searching for. Based on the letter left behind by Great Yan's imperial tutor, it was clear Great Yan's imperial tutor was also searching for this Luo woman. However, it was also clear the two of them had starkly different views about cultivation. Great Yan's imperial tutor was strongly of the opinion that no one should attempt attaining the 9-leaf stage since it would bring about a disaster. Luo is something keen, on the other hand, seemed to encourage cultivators to grow stronger so they could stand against a 9-leaf cultivator. The two of them had come from the same place. Why were their opinions so different? "Do you know where this Luo woman went?" Zhou asked. Zhu Tianyuan shook his head. "The previous holy master has seen her, but I don't know her. Nobody knows where she is right now. She might be dead." "Dead?" "The diary says that she's extremely adept at cultivation but not so skilled in controlling it," Zhu Tianyuan replied. "Since her control wasn't good, I'm afraid it must have been difficult for her to survive." Zhou frowned slightly. How confusing. Zhou had yet to read the diary, hence, he was in no hurry to ask for proof. Moreover, Zhu Tianyuan had no need to lie regarding this matter. However, if she was not skilled at control, how did she instruct Yun Tianluo? Truly, she was shrouded in mystery. Just like Great Yan's imperial tutor, she was extremely mysterious. In any case, Lu Zhou was rather certain the Great Yan's imperial tutor's cultivation base was beyond the 8-leaf stage. Zhu Tianyuan nodded, clearly pleased, when he saw Lu Zhou deep in thought. He said with a smile, "It seems like this diary is very important to you, Brother Ji. In that case, can I take my son with me?" Before Lu Zhou could reply, Zhu Honggong immediately kowtowed and said, "Master, the sun and moon are witnesses of my sincerity. I'll never leave you. Please have mercy." Zhu Tianyuan. He looked at Zhu Honggong, slightly stunned. Lu Zhou said, "Get up and talk." "Yes, master." Zhu Honggong got to his feet with difficulty. "You are, indeed, Zhu Tianyuan's son. You don't remember anything because you're young when I recruited you. You came into this world of your parents. How can you not acknowledge them?" Lu Zhou said as he thought back to events of the past. When Zhu Tianyuan heard this, his emotions were stirred. He turned and gave Lu Zhou a complicated gaze. "Is this still the old villain Ji I know?" Jiang Pu placed a hand on his injured chest and walked over. He bowed and said, "Young master, after you left the ancient saint cult, the holy master hasn't had a good night's rest or appetite. The holy mistress fell ill, distraught, and passed away in her prime." "Stop," Zhu Tianyuan said. Jiang Pu immediately shut his mouth and said no more. Zhu Tianyuan smiled and said, "That's all in the past. Don't listen to him. I'm happier than anyone else to learn that you've entered the nascent divinity realm." Lu Zhou said, "You lost the bet." "I willingly admit that," Zhu Tianyuan said. Lu Zhou searched his memories. It was true, Zhu Honggong's talents were terrible. How did he suddenly improve after joining the Evil Sky Pavilion? If his host, Ji Tiandao, truly had some unique method to modify one's constitutions and talents, then, it would explain why his 9 disciples were so outstanding. "Kneel," Lu Zhou said. Zhu Honggong was taken aback. However, when he saw that his master was serious, he hastily knelt. Lu Zhou placed his hands on his back and said, "Since time immemorial, there's no greater grace than the act of birth and the act of raising someone. You should decide for yourself." Zhu Tianyuan was slightly taken aback. He could not believe these words spoken by the old villain Ji he knew. For a time, he was shocked speechless.